Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the 9 Frames Podcast. This is episode 75, and it is Friday, February 2nd, 2024. I am Bill Whalen.
And I'm Mike Whalen.
Be sure to catch us, as always, on YouTube at 9 Frames Podcast. Our Spotify is 9 Frames, and our X is at 9 Frames Pod. Please follow us on there, subscribe, like, comment, and share if you enjoy the show.
Yeah, we got some big news on this one. A former Cy Young Award winner is on the move.
Yeah, this guy has been having a phenomenal stretch of pitching, and he is in some new threads starting next year. Should be fun to talk about.
Yep.
It should be really fun to watch next year.
Yeah, we'll just jump right on into it.
And let's get straight into the news. Obviously, we gotta start by talking about that Cy Young trade, man. That is a blockbuster. And who else are we talking about but the Baltimore Orioles? Fresh off that sale, man, they trade for Corbin Burnes from the Milwaukee Brewers.
Interesting, because we didn't really know which way the Brewers were leaning. If they were going to be buyers, they just signed Rhys Hoskins to a 2-year deal, seeming that they were buyers. And then within a week, they turn around and trade their ace, former Cy Young Award winner. I mean, it's pretty crazy to even think. I don't know what the hell's going on in Milwaukee.
Their offseason has been so odd. They just appointed a new GM, right? Obviously, because Stearns is gone.
I think it was just somebody in-house. Like, it was the guy underneath Stearns. He just moved up.
Yeah, I believe so as well. And instantly they say that it is an all-out fire sale, even though they are the defending champions of the National League Central. And then...
but then there was reports that Burnes wasn't available for trade, and then he was.
It sounded like they had fully gone back and planned to try to repeat here. I actually believe I saw a Bob Nightingale tweet that said it doesn't sound like Burnes is on the move this past week.
Yeah, Bob is usually wrong, so...
But this is obviously Corbin Burnes is getting traded. He will be going to the Baltimore Orioles, heading up that staff with young Kyle Bradish. They got a couple of studs over there now.
Yeah, Burnes' relationship with the Brewers had been a little bit affected by the way that they were treating him the last couple years in arbitration and so forth. So, I mean, there wasn't really much of a chance of him staying beyond his contract coming up at the end of this year. It'll be interesting to see if the new Orioles ownership approves of a long extension for him, if that's what he seeks to stay in Baltimore, or if he just straight up decides I still want to go test free agency.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see if they have a extension in the works, because as you know, a lot of the time that these big trades happen, when they meet together in spring, they start talking extension quickly. But like you said, man, yeah, disrespected by the Brewers is true for the last couple of years, which is insane because this guy is one of only 5 pitchers to have 3 straight 200 strikeout seasons in the last 3. He's also been an all-star all 3 of those years. One of those is his Cy Young year in 2021. I mean, he had a 3.39 this year in 32 games started. His ERA has been on a bit of an upward trend. He had a 2.43 in 2021, 2.94 in 2022, and it's up to a 3.39 last year.
Yeah, I mean, not to shit on the guys that the Brewers got back, but even in the return that they got, it kind of looked like they didn't value Burnes as much as other teams. And, I mean, even fans are like, what the hell is going on? This is all they got for Corbin Burnes.
That's the first big move of the new GM,
Joey
right?
Ortiz, DL Hall, and a competitive balance round A draft pick. That's kind of nuts, man, for a guy that won a Cy Young just, 3 years ago?
Yeah, I looked into these guys' number, too. Joey Ortiz is like a defensive-minded, contact-minded shortstop. Not too much pop in that bat, a lot of single-digit homer seasons in the minors, and he's played something in the teens in the majors, and that was just last year. Then you got DL Hall, who has pitched a couple of years, I think it's in the 30s, something like that, but he is at a 4.36.
Yeah, I know he was up this last year with the Orioles.
Yeah, so he's got an ERA in the 4s, and he just hasn't been around too much. It could be solid pieces back, but you are not getting a Cy Young back, simply put. No disrespect to those pieces, as you said, but this guy is a former Cy Young and has 3 straight 200 strikeout seasons.
Yeah, so great for the Orioles. I mean, they get a new ace to pair with Kyle Bradish, who's coming off a fantastic year, Grayson Rodriguez, who's going to be up and coming again. I mean, he looked awesome in the playoffs and the stretch leading up to the playoffs. Then they got Dean Kramer. I mean, they've got a good rotation there in Baltimore now.
That's an exciting team. It was really weird to have that dark cloud over Baltimore, knowing that when these guys came up to contracts, they weren't going to be paid. But now that it's been sold, man,
Almost immediately.
Yeah, now that it's been sold, that cloud is pretty much lifted, and they seem willing to spend. I hope they are.
A day after the sale,
sale's not even fully finalized yet, but the GM's behaving as if it is.
They go out and they get their guy. Good for them. We'll see where the Brewers trend toward for the rest of the offseason. I mean,
absolute A+ move for the Baltimore Orioles, in my opinion.
100% agree.
We'll keep it on in the AL East here, and I just wanted to mention this one quickly because the news dropped this morning. Theo Epstein will be joining Boston's ownership as a senior advisor. He is returning to Boston here after he is a former World Series champion as the GM. Yeah,
two-time World Series champion as the general manager of the Boston Red Sox. So that's really cool to see them include him in any way that they could.
According to Passan, he's not in charge of any personnel decisions, but obviously his opinion is going to have a lot of weight.
Of course. I mean, he's done so much for the game.
In any front office, this is a guy whose opinion I would love to have as well.
The Cubs as well. I mean, won them their first World Series in 100 and whatever years. I mean, the Theo Epstein's a baseball genius, in my opinion. I always wanted him in the front office of the Mets.
The Mets had a lot of interest in him when they were on their search as well.
He wanted to step away. He didn't really want to do the GM stuff anymore, and clearly he's moving on toward ownership now.
Yeah, this is one of those things. It happens a lot. It's been happening a lot recently in baseball. This is a partnership that simply makes sense for both sides.
Yep.
We'll move it on back to pitching now. This one is a pretty oddly structured deal. This is a reliever going to the San Diego Padres, another one. They are kind of loading up that pen.
Yes, they are.
Wandy Peralta, the lefty, has agreed to a 4-year, $16.5 million contract. This contains 3 opt-out clauses. They're all player opt-outs. This means Wandy Peralta can just go back into free agency at the end of any season during this contract.
It kind of appears like the Padres are offering people contracts they can't decline.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no way Wandy Peralta was getting that kind of deal from any other team.
Yeah, no, I mean, we
3
saw...
player options in a 4-year contract is insanity.
We saw that the Mets and obviously the Yankees were interested on bringing him back, but neither one was giving him a contract like this. Both of those were pretty standard reliever contracts. It sounded like 2-year deals, giving him, $7 million or something like that. But
that's what I was about to say. Typically, unless you're like a really good setup guy or a closer, you don't get more than a 2, maybe 3-year deal. So for him to get a 4-year deal and have that much power where he can opt out at any point, it's pretty crazy to see.
It's a deal that I do like a lot for the Padres because it is well documented that their financials aren't doing too great this year, and they have loaded up that pen while not spending the most money in the world in what is a very expensive pitching market.
Yeah, they've been very creative in building that pen while losing one of the best relievers in baseball in Josh Hader this year, who's going on over to Houston, as we mentioned. So, I mean, I agree. I do think it's a good move. I just don't understand the 3-player options thing for somebody that's going to be like a 7th-inning guy, you'd assume.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a very low ERA for the past 4 years now. So, I mean, if over 2021 to 2023, he logged 153 innings pitched with a 2.82 ERA, 21% strikeout rate with a 10.2% walk rate, excellent 56.5% ground ball rate. I mean, he's in the 88th percentile in hard hit contact as well. This is a guy you want at the back end of your pen.
Yeah, he has been phenomenal, and it'll be interesting to see what role they use him, and maybe they will slide him into a closer's role because the Padres bullpen really isn't locked down.
I believe one of their foreign signings was getting.
They were giving him 100%.
I think so. Yeah.
Who knows how spring training goes?
I remember the first one was signed, and then they said that he was getting the closer role, then another person was getting the closer role. So maybe it is up in the air.
Maybe they have a battle in spring training. Whoever has the best spring training will claim the role. Who knows?
Yeah, as of right now, this is a guy who had some command issues last year, but still had a 2.83 ERA and 54 innings pitched.
Also, in my opinion, I think they probably just replaced the best left-handed option on the market that they didn't get in Josh Hader with the second best option in Wandy Peralta.
Yeah, they have. It's been impressive to see them cost-effectively replace and almost fill in that hole as best they can.
Yeah, it's been creative and it's been very different from how they've approached off seasons and trade deadlines in years past.
Yeah, I mean, especially with how aggressively they were spending last year, I tip my hat. I
That's
think
a couple years. I mean, all the way back until when they first signed Manny Machado.
Very true.
They've been spending money for like half a decade, almost nearly a decade now.
I think they've been very smart this offseason, and I'm definitely looking forward to see how that bullpen performs in the season once it kicks off.
I agree with you.
Another bullpen pitcher we will talk about here, that's really all we got for the rest of the episode, is a couple more of those. Keenan Middleton, he's been on the move lately. After a strong half in Chicago last year where he pitched to a 3.96 while striking out more than 30% of his hitters across 36 and a third innings, he only ended up getting 12 appearances with his new team, which was the Yankees there. Obviously, he was very vocal about the lack of leadership in Chicago after leaving. He struck out 17 people batters in 14 and a third innings pitch and allowed only 3 runs, so really solid year for him.
Yeah, and he's going to be rewarded with he's one of the quicker relievers off the market. I mean, I still can't believe how slow everything's been going with how little time is left. We're in February now, and guys like Cody Bellinger and Blake Snell are still out there.
Yeah. I'm especially looking forward to see where they end up.
And the Cardinals have been pretty active this offseason, so they continue to do so by adding another pretty solid reliever.
Yeah, this is a guy who, like I said, ended up having a 3.38 in 50 and 2/3 innings pitched. That's a lot of innings for him. I think it's either his career high or his second most, but either way, if you get that from him, you're happy for sure. And I know St. Louis will be looking to use him next year in what should be, again, solid amount of innings.
Yeah, and then the final thing that we're going to talk about is that the New York Mets and left-hander Jake Diekman are nearing a deal. It's not official yet. Jake Diekman was really he had a weird year last year. He started on the White Sox, and he had nearly an 8, a 7.94 ERA and 11 and a third innings pitched. But then he gets traded, or maybe he got DFA'd.
Yeah, one or the other, but he ended up in Tampa.
He gets picked up by Tampa Bay, and he has a 2.18 ERA and 45 and a third innings pitch with 53 strikeouts. So he looked like a completely different pitcher, and it's because he joined the Tampa Bay Rays, in my opinion. I think just what they do with their pitching staff, they've proven with older pitching guys like Rich Hill in the past. I mean, they just know how to figure it out with these guys.
Yeah, Diekman, it was a really good story. He was nasty down the stretch for them, and he even got some decent-sized decently important innings in the postseason there for them.
Yeah, I mean, it was a short postseason in all fairness, but I hope that deal gets done because the Mets need another left-handed option with Brooks Raley being out there as the lone lefty right now. So, and I've been a fan of Jake Diekman for quite some time, so it'd be really fun to watch him pitch in orange and blue. Yeah,
this is a deal where, as a Met fan, it's getting pretty tiring to keep hearing that the Mets are the top suitor or the second top suitor on almost every top reliever. So many free agents, really, this offseason, and then they are not the one to end up finishing off that signing. I'd be pretty disappointed if them being so close to this deal with Diekman, they don't get him.
I think they will end up getting him. I think it was like pending a physical or something.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, like we said, no monetary or year values on that Keenan Middleton deal. Same with the Diekman, obviously, considering that's not official at all, but this is a guy who has a 3.82 and 11 years of service time. That's a lefty you need in your bullpen if you're the Mets.
Very solid option.
Thank you to everybody for watching and listening wherever you do. That was episode 75 of the 9 Frames podcast. It is Friday, February 2nd, 2024. I've been Bill Whalen.
And I've been Mike Whalen.
Be sure to catch us, as always, on YouTube at 9 Frames Podcast. Our Spotify is 9 Frames, and our X is at 9 Frames Pod. Please follow us on there. Subscribe, like, comment, and share if you enjoy the show.
Yeah, we appreciate the support. Hopefully, I mean, we're running out of time, like I say at the end of every episode, it seems like at this point, but, I mean, we got to get these guys off the board. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's still a former Cy Young Award, 2-time Cy Young Award winner, former MVP, Rookie of the Year. I mean, we got Jordan Montgomery, who just won the World Series, is still out there. There's some names.
Very big names still on the market. And with those names on the market, we've got Cy Youngs on the move getting traded. The Baltimore Orioles are sold, and they get a Cy Young. This is a big week for Baltimore.
101 wins, and they make a move like that.
Mm-hmm. A lot of relievers being signed, but when will those starters be signed? And there are still quite a few big bats. get those Jorge Solers, those J.D. Martinez's, and obviously Cody Bellinger, as you said, the reigning comeback player of the year.
Yeah, enjoy your weekend, everyone, and hopefully we have enough to talk about on Monday. If not, we'll see you probably midweek.
Should be fun seeing Corbin Burnes in the black and orange.